Hey everyone, welcome to Horsham Gamers. This is our second episode of Tales of Escuria, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm the guy who's doing the streaming. I'm Ben. I started Horsham Gamers. Just a quick one before we all kick things off. As most of you know, that Horsham Gamers is growing, and it's fantastic to see everyone coming together. There's a lot of things going on now. It's with the D&D. There's events coming up, but one of the main things that we're trying to strive to do is bring more people in. We know around Horsham and the surrounding areas that we've got a lot of people out there. There are a lot of gamers, and it relies on the sharing. Sharing is caring. That's what I keep putting on the Facebook page. But please share us about. If you know anyone that's interested, just pop them a link to the Facebook group or the website. There's a couple of blogs on there. There's reviews up going every day. So please do send us around. So here we go. Okay, Cal, it's over to you.
Okay. So just to give a quick recap of last session, three seemingly unrelated people ended up getting caught up in what seems to be a case of mistaken identity. Ralkini, a human wizard from House Korith, who had just come to the city for mysterious purposes, seems to have been blamed for an arcane explosion which happened at the Blade Pit here in the city of Sakani. And the two people who happened to be closest to him at that time were Kada, a tiefling who is in the employ of House Marevo, and Elland, who happens to be a member of House Marevo. So following a hasty chase, they have managed to make their way to the Shogunate Plaza, to the place where Ellen's family lives for the moment, and are currently trying to get themselves hidden. So, picking up, we go somewhere else entirely in the city. We see the narrow, kind of hodgepodge cobbled streets with various buildings of completely different styles and different construction materials that seem to be placed at random angles, not particularly connecting to one another, creating a series of strange diagonal alleyways, channels which seem to lead to nowhere, and casting a fair amount of dark shadow. And considering this is the Underdark, this is some really deep darkness that these shadows are casting. There is barely lit by some fairly faint greenish lanterns, which gives everything a kind of strange otherworldly look to it because of the green pale light that gets cast onto it and the long shadows. And walking down this road, there is a very slender drow woman. She is wearing long red silken robes and a sash which goes from the top of her left shoulder down across her body. And this sash appears to be made of cobwebs, which have been kind of knitted together, but still retain that kind of fibrous cobweb look to them. And around her neck, she is wearing a bronze, it looks like bronze necklace, which is in the shape of a spider. And walking alongside her, we see a smaller and visually quite younger person. Vixen, why don't you describe yourself?
Describe myself. Mid-20s, in looks, long red hair. Not sure how much I really want to divulge.
that's
Um,
that we can leave it at that.
okay, cool.
Okay. So yeah, this older woman is she's walking with quite a pace, and in her arms she seems to be cradling a couple of books and some kind of old weathered scrolls, and as she kind of power walks, she looks back and sees that you're falling behind just a little bit, and she does. Hurry up, Vixen. We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here right now. What do you do?
I quicken my pace and shuffle faster.
Okay. Yeah. As you're kind of shuffling, you see that this woman, the woman that is known to you as Silk Mother Shelloren, she seems to be kind of darting from shadow to shadow, from place of cover to place of cover. You're not entirely sure what is going on at this point, because as far as you can tell, you had come to Sakani for some kind of ritual that Shelloren hadn't really told you anything about. She told you the most basic of, we've got to go to Sakani because we have to perform this blessing ritual, and apparently they couldn't get any of the priests to come over from House Rarlike to do it, so we have to go and do it. And it's all some kind of favor that she's doing for a friend of hers. And so basically, at the very last minute, you were told that you're going to be leaving and traveling to Sakani. And upon arriving, within the first 5 minutes of you arriving in a strange city, there is an explosion and people are just running everywhere. So there's this current kind of torrent of people who are running seemingly in the opposite direction to the way that you are. It seems as if the Silk Mother is leading you more towards the explosion than away from it at this point. Can you make a perception check for me, please? Okay. Yeah, in this kind of torrent of people that are coming in your direction, one of them kind of knocks into you, and you get momentarily turned around. And because of the nature of these streets and the nature of the way in which they're laid out, it's very difficult when you finally kind of regain your footing for you to tell which direction you had originally been pointing in. There's about 30 seconds or so when you have no idea which direction you are supposed to be going in, until finally you hear shouting from up ahead. You hear the familiar voice of Shelloren just shouting, "Vixen? Vixen, where are you?"
I'm coming.
She just looks very kind of frustrated at you, and she finally catches sight of you, and she's just like, "Grab hold of my sleeve. We must not get separated, okay? This is very important." So you continue running at a pace through the streets, and you see, as you seem to be approaching the site where this explosion had previously been, because you can see that there is a fair amount of smoke that's rising, and you can see now that you're getting a bit closer that in amongst the smoke rising up from it, there are occasional what looks like sparks of lightning, but the lightning doesn't seem to be coming down. It can't possibly be coming down because there's no sky above you. It seems to be shooting up, and it seems to be of a kind of purplish hue, and you can see occasional kind of bursts of this lightning kind of flying up from somewhere nearby. You can't see the actual location of the explosion yet. You just know that you're approaching it because the thickness of the smoke and the smog seems to be getting more, and the amount of the crowd that is around you seems to be getting less. What do you do?
I look up in awe and I put my hood over my head.
Okay.
I don't know what to expect at this point, but I'm just going to go along with it.
Okay. Yeah. So, Shellaren is breathing very heavily, and you can hear it. Like, it's very difficult to tell, especially with drow, how old they are, because all of them tend to have kind of this pale white hair from birth. So it's difficult to tell from hair color, and because they're elves, they have extremely long lifespans anyway. So it's always difficult to tell how old a drow actually is. They basically seem to go from being a child to a teenager to this nebulous age that could be anywhere from like 50 to several hundred years old. But you have got the impression over the years that you have been under Shellaren that she is quite old, and she's actually getting quite old now. So she is this kind of laboured breathing from this, keeping up this pace. And you can see that there's kind of little mists of breath that come out from the gaps in the full face mask that she is wearing. As it seems to be getting kind of supernaturally cold where you are. So you also see kind of like frosted breath coming out from you breathing as well. Until eventually you reach this point, this intersection of two streets, and she kind of has to stop and take a breath. And she leans herself up against a wall and just says, "We must be getting close now. Just hold tight for a little while. Keep guard. I need to have a quick rest."
Do you need me to take your books from you?
At that, she kind of like clutches them tighter, and she says, "No, I must keep these books with me. They are my responsibility. Until you are trained enough to know what to do with them, I cannot entrust these books to you. Do you understand?"
I was only offering to carry them. You look quite tired.
"I understand that you're a kind girl, and that you are trying to do everything you can to help me, but I need you to understand this above all else. You are not to touch these books. Do you understand?"
Yes, I understand.
Good girl. And at that point, at this point, the street around you seems to be pretty kind of hastily abandoned. Like, there are a few kind of tables and stalls that seem to have been kind of haphazardly knocked over from people running. There seems to be kind of debris strewn about in the street. The kind of thing that you would expect from people who are just kind of running for their lives. There is, and in amongst all of this, there's almost a kind of eerie silence, in that you've come from this massive kind of torrent of people, and all that you can hear in this silence is kind of the distant sounds of kind of hustle and bustle, and the occasional kind of electric sparking sound that accompanies those kind of blasts of purple lightning kind of flying upwards. And then suddenly, breaking the silence, you hear a kind of whistling sound, this kind of shrill whistling sound. You can definitely tell that it's being made by a person, and you hear heavy footsteps on the cobbles. And a fairly kind of fairly tall man who seems to be wearing quite ragged clothes, not slave clothes, but more kind of poor merchant clothes, rounds the corner. And as he's whistling, he's got a club in one hand, and he's kind of like beating it against his hand repeatedly in a kind of threatening manner. And he sees Silk Mother Shellaren, and he gets a kind of grin on his face, and he says, "It's a bad time to be from House Korith, but it's a good time to be someone who's looking to get a little extra money out of it. Just lay down everything you've got on the ground, and this doesn't have to get messy." And you can see the look on Silk Mother Shellararen's face. She has no intention of giving him anything. What do you do?
I stand in front of her. I keep my feet down and I look ready.
He kind of has to crane his neck down a little bit. Because he's fairly tall and Shellaren is about kind of 6.5 foot. He kind of like cranes his neck down a little bit, and it almost seems like it's the first time he's noticing you. He's just like, "This ain't nothing to do with you, girl. This is to do with her and all the other maskies around here." And he kind of like spits down on the ground at his feet and kind of like rubs it with his foot a little bit. He's just like, "Just be on your way, and I won't have any quarrel with you. Me or my friends." And he kind of clicks his fingers, and suddenly from kind of like behind the corners of buildings, you can see another 2 people kind of arrive to flank him on the side. And then from behind you, you see that there's another 3 people who seem to have come in to kind of surround you. What do you do?
Gentlemen, please. I mean, really. She's on her last legs. You can see that already. Can't you for a second look around you? People running in all directions. It's complete chaos. You can't think of anything better to do than pick on an old lady?
Well, the way we see it, we heard it was one of these Carithian lot who might have done this. So
We've
I think
only
it's
just
time we
got
some
here.
justice.
We've only just got here. There's no point in this at all.
I happen to disagree. Get her. And at that point, you see one of the men lets out another kind of shrill whistle, and a large kind of mastiff dog comes bounding out from one of these alleyways and basically leaps onto Silk Mother Shellaren and is in the process of mauling her. What are you going to do?
I'm going to go shifter on this dog.
Okay, describe what happens.
Okay, I shift into what looks like a humanoid fox. I get more foxy features. I get a tail. I proceed to literally pounce on the dog, and I am going to bite it with my shift.
Okay. And I think it's time that we moved over to this little battle map that I've got set up. Just give me a second to sort something. Okay. So what you are planning on doing is... Sorry, Roll20 is being uncooperative for me. Just a second. What you're planning on doing is closing the gap and kind of pouncing on this mastiff here, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Yep, you do so quite easily. You've definitely landed a hit. So if you just click on the Shifter Fangs in the chat box, then it will roll the damage for you. 4, yeah. So basically, this dog is in the process of kind of mauling the Silk Mother. Has managed to kind of like tear into her chest and kind of is in the process of trying to get a bite to kind of like land a bite on her neck. And then what we see is kind of from the perspective of the Silk Mother, is this dog kind of on top of her and filling up her vision. And then suddenly it's like it gets hit by like a truck and it just kind of gets bulldozed off to the side. And in the process of doing so, it also knocks back and knocks prone the person who was previously standing behind it, kind of giving it its commands. And yeah, you managed to basically do what it was trying to do. You managed to get a bite directly on the neck, and it just dies instantly. This dog is just gone.
Bad dog.
So yeah, having seen this kind of, it's quite a grotesque thing to see someone just kind of like have their bones rearranged in front of you. So like the one that's just been knocked to the floor seems to just be kind of like confused and in a state of disbelief, and the ringleader, this one over here, is just like, see what I told you? Corypheans, messing with their twisted magic, come here to destroy us. We don't need to get their money. We need to kill them. And it's time that we rolled some initiative. Okay.
I'm all on my own.
Well, it's you and a drow priestess.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just get the turn order up. Okay. So to roll initiative, what I need you to do is I need you to go onto your character sheet, Vixen.
Yep.
And yeah, if you first need to click on your like your icon on the battle map.
Oh yeah.
And then I need you to click initiative. And it should automatically sort it out. Ooh, a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm just going to have to go through a bunch of tokens and do some initiative rolls. So this might take a quick second. In the meantime, if there's anything that you wanted to say to them or say to the Silk Mother, now would be a good time.
I growl angrily. I'll have you know that I was born this way. This has nothing to do with magic. You want to fight, you've got.
And then the ringleader's just like, oh, I see. So it isn't magic. You're just naturally an abomination.
An abomination willing to tear out your throat.
And he kind of looks down at the Silk Mother. Still has the mask on. Are you wearing your mask currently?
Currently, yes. Currently, I have my mask.
Okay. And he just kind of like, he just looks down at her and like shakes his head and is just like, what do you owe to her anyway? You're a slave, right?
Business.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't catch what you said.
I said it's none of your business.
And he just says, well, if that's how you want to be, fine. It's not going to stop us killing you, though. Just need to do one last initiative roll, and we'll be ready.
I'm going to die before I even start this campaign.
I'm sitting here thinking it's fine.
Okay. And then... Okay. So we begin the turn order, and the first one to move is this Mastiff over here.
Mm-hmm.
Having seen its fellow Mastiff get kind of mauled and basically immediately killed, it seems a little kind of uneasy. It's being kind of goaded on by its master standing next to it, just being like, go on, get him. and the Mastiff is just kind of like it's letting out kind of like it's a low growl, but you can tell that it's like a I'm growling, yes, I'm scary kind of growl. Like it's trying to be imposing, but it knows that it's kind of outmatched at the moment. So finally, the Master kind of like gives it enough of kind of like an impetus. It kind of like basically tries to push it forwards, and it finally kind of sets off at a run towards you. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's going to dash this turn, so it can get this close to you, but it can't do anything else. Okay. So now we move on to the next one in the initiative, which is the Silk Mother. She has been knocked prone at this point. She's kind of like old and infirm. She basically has to take most of this turn to kind of get herself back up to her feet. And as she's getting back up to her feet, you see her kind of scrabble to collect together all of the books and scrolls and make sure that she's kind of holding them close. And she kind of tucks them all under one arm. And give me a second. She kind of rights herself again, and she reaches down to her side, and she's got kind of a little kind of ceremonial dagger, and she kind of gets it out, and with one hand she's kind of clutching all the books to herself, and with the other one she's kind of like got this dagger out and is kind of like pointing it in like various directions. Like she'll point it at one of the guys and then she'll like turn around and point it at the other. She's kind of like looking around on guard. And that's her turn. Okay. Next, we get to this commoner down here. And he is going to make an attack on the Silk Mother. Okay. And he goes in to try and kind of like smash at her with a club. And then she's in the process of kind of like flitting from person to person. And she spots him coming and manages to kind of like deftly kind of duck out of the way. She has that kind of that elven grace to her where it's almost like she's kind of moving fluidly, and it seems like right up until the last moment this club is going to hit her, and she kind of just almost kind of dances her way out of the way of it, and it swings wide, and now she's got the dagger pointed at him. Okay, so now we move on to this one down here. They're currently kind of they've been kind of taking cover behind like a collection of boxes and along kind of merchant's table that have been slightly overturned. So they spend a fair amount of their turn kind of trying to clamber themselves out of this random debris, and then they make it to about here, and they're about to kind of like they're kind of like shouting to their friend as they're like that their friend is trying to land a hit on the Silk Mother, just being like, yeah, go on, get her. And then when he sees like the Silk Mother kind of like dodge out the way at the last second, he gets this look on his face, just kind of like, oh, that's what we're going to be fighting. Okay, he looks a little less sure. Okay. Next, it's going to be this guy, and he is looking at the Silk Mother and seeing all that's happening, And he's thinking, well, she's not really the thing we need to be worried about now. We need to worry about this abomination. So he is going to come and try and attack you. So let's see. Okay. Okay, a 15. What's your armor class?
It is 14.
Oh. Okay, so he does manage to land a hit on you. Let's see what he does. He does 5 damage to you.
Damn.
So yeah, I think, and you're on guard, and you've managed to take down this dog, but I think maybe part of your instinct to kind of try and protect the Silk Mother, when you see that she's in danger, it kind of like it distracts you for just like a quarter of a second when you see her having to dodge out of the way, and your worry for her means that you don't notice this person who's managed to kind of get into like your peripheral vision and managed to get kind of like a solid whack, and it kind of hits you along kind of a bit of your back, and for a lesser person, it probably would have like knocked you to the floor. But with kind of like the primal strength that you've got when you've shifted into this form, you kind of managed to like right yourself and stay standing. And now you see this man before you with his club, and he sees your kind of half fox face, and he is scared.
Good.
Okay. So next is going to be, where are they? Next is going to be this commoner up here, and they are just going to, they're going to get a bit closer, and they're going to keep trying to give orders to their dog, but they are very much trying to kind of stay back and stay out of the fight directly. Okay, and last we have the ring leader, and they are going to try and charge towards the Silk Mother and try and land a hit on her. Mm. 17 hits. And does 3 bludgeoning damage to her. So yeah, while she's busy kind of trying to keep her dagger trained on the one that initially attacked her, the ringleader manages to kind of like rush in, and it's less that he kind of like hits her with the club, more that he kind of just like, it's almost like he punches her, but he's still kind of holding the club. It kind of like bull rushes towards her, and manages to kind of like land a hit on the side of her head, and it knocks kind of like one side of her mask loose. So kind of the bindings that are holding it to her head on one side start to kind of unravel, and she kind of immediately reaches. She drops her dagger and has to reach up to kind of like reattach it, but she's dropped her dagger and it's now lying on the floor beside her. Which brings it to your turn.
Hooray.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. Let me think. Who have I got here? I am going to go for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that he took a big hit on me. And I am going to get out my mace and beat him around the face with it.
Nice. Mace to the face. Oh yeah, that definitely hits. Let's see what damage you get with that. So yeah, if you just click on...
Yeah, sorry, I was trying.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you hit this guy with the mace and you feel kind of like a wet crunch. It like hits his skull and it almost kind of like jams in it a little bit. So you need to kind of like wrestle it free again. And he just falls down to the ground. It's just kind of like instantaneous death. This guy's gone. Okay. So this brings it back to this last commoner down here. And he is seeing kind of like the immediate carnage that is kind of like ensuing. And he is wondering whether or not he's actually going to stick this out or whether he's just going to run. Let me see. Let's see how smart he is. He's fairly smart, so he's going to run the hell away. Yeah. This guy has got, like, this far away. And he was previously holding, like, what looked kind of like a fairly kind of blunt, rusty sword. And he's just kind of chucked it down on the ground. And he's just like, oh, no, this isn't worth it. But the rest of them seem to be sticking it out. Okay. So this brings it back to the Mastiff's turn. And the Mastiff's master is going to be like, get the go. So he's going to try and make an attack on you. Let's see how that goes for him. Okay. That doesn't hit your AC, does it? A 10?
No. No, I'm at 14.
Okay. So yeah, he goes to attack you. He goes to try and go in for a bite. What do you do to defend?
I bring my mace up.
Nice. So yeah, you manage to kind of like wing him with your mace. It's not enough to kind of damage him in any meaningful way, but in the act of you kind of like swinging it back up again, it's enough that the bite that he was going for just kind of, his whole body gets kind of shifted a little bit, so he ends up biting kind of some empty air next to where you would be. And now he is now the Mastiff is like angry, and as opposed to before when it was like kind of scared but trying its best to do what its master said, now it's like fight or flight, and it has decided to fight. Okay. This brings us back to Silk Mother Shalaran. And she is going to... Just give me a second. She's going to attack with her sacrificial dagger, the ringleader. Ooh. Yep, that's quite an attack roll. Let's see how she does with it. Yeah, she manages to kind of slash down and across the ringleader, and as he's kind of like bleeding from the wound, you can see that the blood that's coming out, instead of staying red, it kind of turns this kind of like sickly green, and it's kind of similar to kind of the green lamplight that's going on around you, and blood kind of begins to pour out of his mouth and from his eyes and from his nose, and he just falls down, and the ringleader is so dead.
That's right.
Yeah. And at this point, then the Silk Mother kind of turns to face the one that's kind of just here, and now she's got a smile. You can't see it behind the mask, but you can tell she's got a smile. Okay. At this point, I'm going to make a quick check for this one. This is really annoying. It keeps closing the character sheets, so I have to reopen them every time. Okay, let's. Okay, no. This guy, he is. You can tell from looking at him, like, he's got like a lot of raw strength, but when he's got that look when you look at him, where you realize like there's not a lot going on behind those eyes, is there? Life's pretty simple being you, isn't it? This guy is real dumb.
Level cons.
So he just sees like his friend, the ringleader, just kind of like fall down dead, and he just kind of like lets out this kind of like noise, which is somewhere between crying and trying to be scary, you think. And he is just gonna like try and swing his club as hard as he can at the Silk Mother.
They haven't destroyed it.
Oh,
Ouch.
yeah, let's see how that does. 4. Yeah, he lands a significant hit on the Silk Mother. Like,
All brawn, no brain.
yeah, she's got this smile, and he kind of like swings, but he swings kind of down diagonally, and he manages to kind of like hit her in the stomach, and she's like visibly winded from that blow. She's like doubled over, and he just kind of like, once he's hit that kind of, when she's managed to land that hit, he kind of like stamps his feet kind of celebratory, and is like, yeah. And that brings us.
He's gonna get it.
That brings us to this guy down here. And having seen his friend manage to land such a significant hit on the Silk Mother, and you can tell that she is very close to death at this point. Like there's very little that's keeping her on this side of consciousness. Probably just fight.
Yeah.
So this guy is going to close the distance, and he is also going to go for an attack.
I remember that.
Oh, but he misses. In his haste to try and kind of run up and to try and hit her, he kind of catches his foot on one of the cobblestones, and his aim, which would have been really true, just kind of like falls slightly wide, and he has to kind of like catch himself and right himself. But now he's in position and ready to go for an attack next turn, which brings us to this guy here. He is going to kind of go around this small kind of it's like a fruit stall, and he's going to kind of strafe around it to get to here. And then there's kind of a larger stall behind you, which seems to have kind of books and tomes on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of like leaps up onto the table itself, and he's going to try and attack you. Ooh, and he lands a hit.
Mm-hmm.
He does 3 damage to you. Okay. Yeah, so he, from kind of like his height advantage on the table, he kind of like he kind of winds up and raises his hand up high and kind of like tries to bring it down, and then brings it down kind of like as he kind of bends his knees, so it goes kind of like below him. Gets like a real big wind up and manages to hit you. So now it's back to your turn.
Goody.
What would you like to do?
I am going to sweep at his feet with my mace.
Nice. Okay. Oh, yes. So what you do is you sweep at him with your mace, and you feel as like you break both the ankles as you go. And he's like in the midst of screaming, and the force of that kind of topples him over, and as he falls, like he can't get his hands out quickly enough, and he just like his head just like cracks against a cobblestone, and he's just still. So yeah,
I spit on him.
nice. Right. Which brings us back to which one is it? It's not showing me which one it is. I believe it's Big Brawny Boy.
I think it's this one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be Big Brawny Boy. So he's still kind of like emboldened by like, I landed a hit. I'm going to do it again, because that's the only thing that comes into his mind. So he's going to make another attack. Oh, but he misses as well. He's just kind of like, he's so proud that he managed to land this big kind of diagonal hit that he decides to do the exact same thing again. Except this time the Silk Mother is like, well, you just, I can see that coming now. That's not going to work again. So she just like casually like shuffles a bit to the side, and it misses entirely. And you can see like the look of confusion come across his face of just like, what? But I did the thing.
I can imagine her under her mask being totally nonchalant.
Yeah. Okay. So then it comes to this Mastiff. Having witnessed its owner just get like horrifically mauled and just like die unceremoniously by falling onto his head, this Mastiff, it kind of abandons any pretense of like wanting to fight you. It just goes over to like its owner and starts just kind of like pawing at it, kind of like trying to push him to try and like wake him up. But nothing is happening.
Now I kind of feel bad.
You made a dog sad.
I know, that's awful.
There are consequences to your actions. This is what I'm trying to teach you.
Yeah. Within the first 5 minutes of me joining.
Okay. And that brings us to the Silk Mother. And she is going to she's going to attack again. If it would actually let me keep the bloomin' character sheet open for me to do that, that would be helpful. Thank you, Roll20. Okay. Oh, I've just spotted this on her character sheet, and I'm going to do this. She has decided that she has had more than enough of all of this. So she is going to attempt to summon a demon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it just says a 30% chance of success. I can't tell if that actually rolled the dice or not. It doesn't seem to have a roll attached to it. Just give me a second. So...
It honestly sounds like someone I do after I've had a few beers, if I'm totally honest. Someone.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's probably down to your discretion.
Yeah, I think.
That's what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a D100, and if it's a 30 or less, then she manages it.
Okay.
Or I'm going to type the wrong thing and it's not going to do it properly.
Please don't give her a headache. She's had enough damage. Ooh!
Okay, she takes 1d10 psychic damage. Oh, she only takes 1 psychic damage. So she tries to summon this demon, and she knows that her power is kind of waning. She knows that she doesn't have a lot of kind of her own life force left in order to give in this bargain. And as she tries, she can feel the connection that she's starting to make. She can feel the connection that she's making to Lolth and is begging. And she feels Lolth look at her own position of weakness, and say no. And that just breaks her morale. She takes the 1 psychic damage, but you can tell she has this look in her that she's just kind of given up. Because she has just asked her god for something, and her god has said no.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, and that's all she's going to do with her turn. She is going to fail to summon a demon, and she's going to be real sad. Which brings us to... Give me a second. This guy again. He is going to try and capitalize on her weakened state, and he is going to go for another attack. And he lands a hit.
Oh!
Oh. Yeah. In her kind of weakened state, as she's trying to kind of catch herself, and she has that kind of body language of resignation, he manages to get kind of a really like solid whack, hits her behind her knees, and she kind of like she's now kind of like down on her knees in the kind of muddy kind of cobble street. And you can see from looking at her that she's definitely not long for this world. It's your turn. What do you do?
Is she on 0 hit?
She's not on 0, but she is damn close.
Oh, okay. I'm going to use Healing Word on her.
Okay.
I will do it there. Oh.
Okay. You can see as you see that she's kind of like giving up, you make your own plea to Lolth. And you basically in this plea, like in this kind of prayer to Lolth, what is it that you say?
Lolth, we have unfinished business. Please lend me your help.
Yeah, and then you feel kind of the kind of power kind of like radiate through you as a conduit. You can feel that Lolth is saying, "All right, just this once."
Yeah.
So yeah, she seems to kind of regain a bit of vitality in physical sense, even if not in mental sense.
Oh, it's better than nothing.
Yeah. Just out of interest, when you have previously prayed to Lolth, has there ever been like an actual physical thing that has happened before?
I haven't really thought about it. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, that's fair. This is mainly just me thinking, like, is this kind of like the first time for your character, like having like an actual kind of feeling?
This would probably be her first connection, if that makes sense, because obviously before it was much more just learn. So I think this is probably like her first. It's more rather than a prayer, it's more of a plea.
Yeah. Okay. So like for the first time you're not just kind of like going through the motions reading the holy words, you're like actually trying to like communicate in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
And you actually receive something back.
I'm feeling quite pumped right now.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. At this point, the Mastiff has kind of realised that its master is not going to wake back up again, and it turns around, and it's going to try and it's going to try and take a swing at you.
Oh, sorry, doggo.
Okay. It does not land a hit. What do you do?
If I could, I'd intimidate it, but my intimidation is terrible. Oh, I don't want to hurt the doggo. Oh, okay. I'm going to bite the doggo, but more of a dominating bite. I don't want to, like, kill it.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a nip.
Yeah, like it goes in to try and kind of land a bite on you. And like
I'm going to ignore that.
like as it's going to kind of land a bite on you, like it seems like for the first time it's realizing that there's like some kind of level of like you are kind of the same kind of thing as me, but also kind of not. And it seems really confused by the fact that it's like, but you are a person shape, but you have dog features, but you're a person shape. And when you kind of like bare your shift of fangs at it and give it that kind of like that kind of like bite to say kind of stay back, you can see it has like a level of understanding. It's like, okay, no, yeah, you are more powerful than I am. I'm gonna get out of here. So it doesn't take any damage from you, but it turns tail, and it is getting the hell out of here.
It'll be fine. It's alive.
The dog survived.
It wasn't for naught.
Okay. At this point, I'm gonna make one last check to see if. Oh, of course, it's the dumb one. I'm gonna do a check for this one to see if he's smart enough to run away. I'm gonna do it at -2. $15. I'd say even someone this dumb can see that that they're not going to win this fight. So he just kind of like chucks his like. I say a club. It's mainly just kind of like a tree branch that he seems to have grabbed from somewhere. He just kind of like chucks it down on the floor and just kind of like shakes his head and it's just like, nah. And he just he puts his hand up and starts kind of like backing away towards like this alleyway. And it just kind of like hands up, no, please, no, thank you. And this guy, let's do a check for him. 12. This guy is still like, no, I'm in this fight now. I can get this. I can get this woman. I can win this. This guy, you can tell he's kind of like, he's hot-headed. And despite seeing all of his friends like fall or run, he's like, no, this is like a matter of honor for me now. I've got to win this fight. So this guy is going to, he's going to go for another attack.
What the?
But again, he misses. Now that he is the only person that either of you have to focus on, it's an easier matter than before for Sheloran to kind of dodge her way out of the way. She doesn't seem like resigned to die or anything, but she seems like she's pretty like she wants to stay alive, but she seems pretty kind of out of it at this point. But even out of it, like she is able to just kind of like casually move her way out of the way of this. She's graceful enough that even kind of half-assing it, this guy isn't going to just hit her that easily. Which brings it to your turn. What do you want to do?
Well, he's still here. I am going to move up closer and take a whack at him with my mace.
And you hit. And again, you kill him. How would you like to kill this one?
Literally ram my mace into his face.
Nice. Yeah. At this point, we see things from kind of his perspective, and he's gone in for kind of like a swing at the Silver Mother, and he misses, and he's kind of like returning to bring it back up. We just see this encroaching shape of the end of a mace, and then just blackness. And then we kind of like cut back out to a wider shot of you just kind of like pulling the mace out of his face.
Sounds about right.
Both of these guys are just gone. So yeah, Sheloran is still kind of like just kneeling on the ground, just looking kind of resigned. There's a moment when she kind of looks at kind of her own hand and kind of like turns it kind of around like that kind of way when someone's like, is this real? Is this like a real place that I am now? Did that just happen? And she just seems like shell-shocked. What do you say?
I put my hand on her shoulder and I ask her, what the hell was that about?
And she seems to not hear you for a second, and then she kind of like looks back up at you, and she's just like, she didn't answer. She always answers, but what? Did you heal me?
I did. She answered me, but she must have known I was healing you.
And you see her kind of trying to process this information in her head, and she's just like, no, that's not how the Spider Queen works. You know why we wear our masks. Lolth abandoned us, and we had to ask and beg and prove ourselves for her to come back to us. You know this. This is our history. This is our tradition. And Lolth abandoned me today.
But she didn't.
No, you don't understand. For every priestess, there is a time. It is the time when Lolth last answers your request. When Lolth sees you as you are and says no. I've known for a while that I'm getting older, and there are others who trained with me who have already had this happen to them. So I knew that it was going to happen eventually. I wondered if I was going to die before it happened, but I don't think so. I can tell now. Lolth, she serves those who are strong and those who serve themselves. I am not strong enough to serve myself anymore, so I am no longer fit to serve her. And she reaches behind her neck and she unclasps the necklace that she's wearing, the kind of bronze spider necklace. And she kind of holds it in her hand, and you can see that she is like on the brink of tears at this point. And she lays it down on the ground in front of her. She takes out her ceremonial dagger and she cuts her own throat.
Oh my god!
What do you do?
I honestly don't know. I did not see that coming. Ah.
Yeah.
I use spare the dying. I think she's past that now.
Let me just check the amount of damage that her dagger does to her. I remember it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's 1d6 plus 2 plus 17 poison damage.
Ooh.
Yeah, she is just instantly dead.
Yeah, she did.
You see the life force just kind of leave her. And you see at this point, you see in amongst this kind of carnage of these dead bodies, and in the center of it, you see the Silk Mother, the woman who was training you in the priesthood. You see her books, you see her ceremonial dagger, and you see the holy symbol of Lolth lying on the ground before you.
I'm going to kneel down first. And her broken mask that was over her face, I'm going to tie back onto her face because I just feel that should be fitting.
Mm-hmm.
I will pick up the necklace and put that on. I am not going to disregard that. I'm going to pick up the books.
Okay.
And I'm really not sure what to do with myself at this point. I've never been in this situation. I did not know why we were here. I did not know why we were jumped. I do not know what that big thing going off in the distance is that we're slowly coming closer to. So I'm going to turn the other way and go in the opposite direction.
Okay. Yeah. We see in this moment of quiet, there's still the occasional crackling of the lightning kind of in the distance. Again,
a curiosity makes me want to go that way. But I have no idea why we were heading in that direction.
Okay. But yeah, in this kind of eerie quiet, kind of punctured with the occasional lightning, we just hear footsteps and we see you run in the other direction. And that's where we're going to take our first break, guys.
Throw me in the deep end.
Welcome to the team.
Throw me in the deep end right at the start.
Okay, guys, we just
Gosh.
nipped real quick. And we're back. Got a white screen there, Cal.
Got a white screen.
I've got nothing on my screen.
Should have moved to the Sakani map.
I can see it.
Okay, give me a sec. Let me just refresh.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Have we gone back to live yet?
We are, yes.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing like a challenge.
Well, if I was unaware of that. Okay, we're live again. Hello, everyone.
There we go. Okay, fair.
Okay. I'll just keep talking, and then if you can try and fix the overlays or whatever's happening,
That's fine.
I will just keep on going. So yeah, we cut to the Shogunate Plaza in kind of the north of Sakani, and we see there's a fair amount of as opposed to kind of like the panic and the people kind of fleeing in other parts of the city. In this part of the city, partly because it's kind of higher up on the cliff, so you can see down to where the Blade Pit is. It seems that there are various different of the more affluent members of the city, the more affluent, mostly drow, seem to be kind of gathering in the Shogunate Plaza, and there seems to be kind of the sense of people kind of hurriedly kind of talking back and forth, saying, "What's going on? Did you see it happen? What's with all of the arcane energy? What's with the lightning? What's with that?" And there's kind of this back and forth. This kind of they don't seem to know what's going on, and a fair amount of them seem to be kind of looking down the hill towards this rising column of black smog and smoke and the electricity and the sense of concern. And rushing into this scene, we see Elland and basically being kind of dragged along by Kada hurriedly, and heading towards the house where Ellen's family lives. Elland, do you say anything to kind of the people who are assembled, or you just try and kind of just get straight there?
Yeah, I'll get straight there.
Okay. So yeah, you're weaving your way through this crowd of people. Most of them seem to be kind of moving very slowly and kind of in a daze, not sure what's happening. So you make a really stark contrast to two of you trying to kind of dart as quickly as you can. You kind of have to knock a few people out of the way, but they seem to be in kind of such of a daze that they don't really respond. And when you finally manage to get to your mansion, your kind of manor, outside the gates there are the two guards that you're used to seeing there, and they briefly kind of they each have kind of a halberd. So the one that's standing on the left of the gate has his halberd kind of like on the inside, and the other one has it on the inside, so that they kind of like lower them down and they cross over in front of the gate to prevent you from getting in. What do you do?
I just stop there and breathe deeply, trying to inflate my chest. Hey guys, what are you exactly trying to do?
One of them definitely seems to kind of recognize you, but he just kind of he does that. He does that kind of disciplined soldier thing of just looking straight ahead instead of actually looking at you, and he's just like, "We are under orders to keep the mansion in lockdown until we have ascertained what exactly is happening in the city."
Come on, come on. What? You have seen me your entire life around and recognize me? You won't let me inside my own house?
We're under the precise orders of Lady Selwyn that we are not to allow anyone in for any reason.
My mother to come?
So was there? I only heard the first half of that sentence.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just kindly asked them if they can tell my mother to come in.
One of them kind of looks to the side and looks at the other one. The other one looks back at him and just kind of like shrugs a little bit and is just like, "I will go and speak with her." And the other one, like, so one of them goes in through the gate and shuts it behind him, and the other one now kind of like stands in the middle in front of the gate, and he kind of like lowers the halberd, so it's kind of like pointed at you. It's not kind of like in a it's not supposed to be like a threatening way, and kind of like a "you are not to come any closer" way. So yeah, a couple of minutes go by, and there's continued hustle and bustle, and Kada is just kind of pacing kind of behind you, just trying to keep an eye on the crowd, trying to make sure that there's nothing kind of coming your way, until eventually you see the guard return and open the gate, and he says, "You may enter."
Oh, yes.
Okay. So yeah, upon you getting back into the house, immediately your brother is the one who opens the door rather than your mother, and he kind of like grabs you and pulls you into like this massive bear hug, and he's just kind of like, "Oh, no. I was so worried. I saw that you were there. I mean, we said that we were going to meet there, but I couldn't get away, you know. Mum spotted me when I was trying to get out the window, but oh God, are you okay?"
I just try to get rid of his hug, not in a rude manner, but just get back my vital space. I tell him something like trying to say in our these guys have in the door have worked really hard to be this incompetent. Come on, they didn't recognize me. And of course, yes, I'm okay. I just and run away. Some idiots tried to chase me and actually harm me, but Kaida here did a keeping things safe.
Okay, so he looks kind of a bit confused, and he's like, "Wait, so people tried to hurt you?"
As it was strange, we find a guy with a mask. But he played with magic, but it was just got mad at him when strange things happened.
He's trying to. You can see that he's like trying to piece all the bits together in his head, and he's like, "So there was someone with a mask. So House Corith, maybe? did House Korith do this? Did they attack?
I cannot say that they attacked because there were actually two guys with a mask, one fighting against a giant lizard. So, and the other was on the audience. The explosion came from the other side of the arena. The only strange thing they made was like summoning a thunderstorm.
So it was a magical attack then. Yes, that would explain the lightning, but there's so much. We need to wait for more information. In the meantime, we need to make sure that you're safe here. Can you come with me? And he kind of he gestures for you to kind of follow him deeper into the house. And he kind of he goes up to Kada and he just says, I think we're going to need you as eyes and ears out there to make sure that we get all the information that we can. And she just kind of she looks like a bit kind of a little bit pissed off at him, and just says, I don't take orders from you. I take them from Lady Selwyn. And he just says, well, fine, go and talk to her then. But I'm sure this is what she would want you to do. So Kada kind of like rolls her eyes and then heads up the stairs to go into Lady Selwyn's office. And he kind of gestures for you to follow him elsewhere in the house.
Okay, can I tell you there's something? So if he looks like more worried than usual.
So what was that?
Can I tell if he looks more worried than usual or
make a
shock?
perception check. You can tell that he's definitely worried, but at the same time, everyone is worried right now. There was just an attack. You can't tell anything more than that he is worried. You can't tell why or if the cause is the attack or something else.
Yeah, so I will follow him.
Okay. Yeah, he leads you into what's normally kind of one of the kind of reception rooms that your mother would use when you have kind of dignitaries over for dinner or whatever. There's a long kind of oaken table. There's a big kind of carved stone fireplace which has the emblem of House Morevo kind of carved into a shield above it. The fire isn't currently lit, and he walks up to the various different curtains which are kind of pointing. He walks up to the windows basically and draws the curtains on each of them. And he draws them very kind of quickly, and you get the sense that he's trying to kind of prevent anyone from being able to see in. And when he's done with that, he takes a seat at the table and gestures for you to take the one next to him.
I just go inside the room, and after he has taken his seat, window, and just open a little fence and see what's outside that needs to be
Okay.
protect. Yeah.
Make another perception check for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, what you can see out the windows is you can see that this is the kind of side of the manor which is facing kind of into the Shogunate Plaza, and so you can see outside that there's kind of the crowd that are kind of gathering. They all seem to be looking down towards the Blade Pit and away from the house. So like your house would probably be kind of like around about here in the Shogunate Plaza, kind of facing in. And they all seem to be looking kind of the other direction down towards the Blade Pit. But you do notice that there seem to be at least a couple of people who are looking in this general direction. You can't tell if they are looking like for anything particular or if they're just looking towards like House Marivo for whatever reason.
Okay, so sit next to.
Okay. So as he's looking at you, he's just like, I wish I didn't have to ask this question, and trust me, before I ask it, I don't want to assume anything. I'm not accusing you of anything, but were you part of this?
Oh, brother, I don't know how can you even suspect. Oh, I'm trying to learn music, and magic is of galactic, religious stuff that I'm not interested in that anyway.
Like,
Sure.
he seems to he seems to nod a little bit. He's just like, I know that you don't have any interest in this particularly, but I just, you know, you go away for a long time, and it's difficult for us to keep track. And I want to ask this not because I think that you are involved, but because you know that Mother's going to have difficult questions. And I know what you're like. I know that you're going to just want to play it off, but we need to make sure that you have a proper story together. Even if you're not guilty of anything, we need to make sure that you've got a story together so that when Mother starts asking the questions, that she doesn't think that you are involved. Do you understand?
Of course.
Okay.
Should worry.
Sorry, what was that you said?
Should we be worried about the as House Marilu?
I think that it's probably safest for us to be worried at this point. People are scared, and when people are scared, they do stupid things. You know how tense everything is politically, always. And I think that it's likely that in times like this, people are going to start blaming outsiders. People are going to assume that if you aren't from here, that you might have been part of it. And I don't know, maybe they're right too. I don't know how I'd feel if this was Snow Harbor, if they'd attacked there. We'd probably be doing the same. But all I know is things are dangerous right now, and we were already planning on getting out of here. I think we need to do it even quicker. He looks like... You get the sense from looking at him that he is just tired. You get this real sense that he'd already been worrying about all of the kind of arrangements of trying to pick up your entire lives and move them somewhere else for a bit. But now he's also got like this to worry about, and he doesn't really know what to do with that worry. So he's just kind of like, it's something you've seen your brother do a lot, where he's just like, there is a problem, and so I will fix it, and I will take on all of the burden by myself. Do you do or say anything?
I just for being worried about my my herb. I just start wandering around the room in patient manner, trying to make some time to see what happens if Kaida comes back or other.
Okay. So yeah, you're pacing back and forth in this room for a little while. You see that your brother he walks over to a drawer that's it's kind of like a writing desk that's been set up in the corner of the room. So he walks over to it and he gets out like a piece of paper and he gets out a quill and some ink and he starts kind of hurriedly kind of scratching something down on the paper. He seems to be kind of like very intent on what he's writing. And looking around kind of the rest of the room, you can see that there's not a lot kind of left in the room. Like, this is one of the rooms that was mostly already packed up, ready for the move. But yeah, you can see that there's kind of there's a small bookshelf with some books that have been left, like various different ones have obviously been kind of like pulled out, and there's a gap left. The ones that you were planning on taking with you, and the rest are just kind of like lying haphazardly on the shelves. And you can hear that there's still the commotion going on outside. And then eventually the thought occurs to you that even though you were trying to escape together, you currently have absolutely no idea where the other man in the mask is. He seemingly just disappeared. And when you arrived at the Shogunate Plaza, he did not arrive with you. So,
Yeah.
we cut to... we get a little kind of thing on the screen that says 5 minutes earlier. And we see you, Ralkini, just as kind of your spell of Expeditious Retreat is wearing off. You feel yourself kind of like slowly kind of like the momentum that you're carrying is kind of like it feels like where previously there was kind of like a wind behind you pushing you forward. Now it starts to feel like there's a wind ahead of you kind of like slowing you down, and you start to lose momentum and you get back to kind of like your normal running speed. And at this point you can see that there's a fairly large number of people kind of gathering around outside the Shogunate Plaza, which is kind of like around the outside of it. There's kind of a large amount of fence that's been put up. The Shogunate Plaza, you'd know kind of like from the most basic knowledge that people would have of Sakani if you were coming to visit. You'd know that the Shogunate Plaza used to be like the palace that the shogun of Sakani used to live in, but at some point in Sakani's history, in fact at several points in Sakani's history, people raided and destroyed the palace and like burnt it to the ground, and then they built another one and then it got burnt to the ground, and this happened several times until eventually they were like, okay, let's just stop building palaces here, this is a bad decision. Which led this kind of like left this kind of empty ground, which now contains kind of the rich mansions. But these kind of fortified fences and walls are what remain from when the palace used to be here around kind of the outskirts. And you can see that arriving at kind of like the north gate of the Shogunate Plaza, those gates have been shut, and that there are people who are kind of like clamoring and like banging on the gates trying to get in. What do you do?
I want to try and find I don't even know who they are yet. I want to find the two people that was running away with me, and I lost them, and try and get back to them to group and find out what.
Okay. Make a perception check for me. Okay. So through this kind of like sea of people and noise, you're able to just kind of spot through the fence. You're able to see that all the people in there seem to be kind of moving fairly slowly and sluggishly, but you can see the kind of you can see the peculiarly coloured skin and the horns of Kada as she kind of like darts through the middle of some of these people, and you can see Elland kind of in tow behind. And you know that it would be extremely difficult for you to get their attention, but they've made it inside, and there doesn't seem to be much chance of you making it inside.
Okay. There's a fence around the whole of the Shogunate Plaza.
Yes.
I push my way through the crowds all the way up to the fence and try to grab another better look of where they've got to.
Okay. Give me another perception check, please. 22. Oh, yeah. So yeah, from this better vantage point, like at the bottom of the fence, there's like a small part of it that's kind of like embedded in like some stone wall, and you're able to, from kind of this vantage point, you're able to kind of like hold on to the fence and pull yourself up so you can stand on like the little bit of protruding stone wall and get kind of like a height advantage. And that means that you're able to see just kind of over the tops of the heads of people, and immediately, like following in the path that they would have been going, you are able to see them outside the house on the Shogunate Plaza, and you immediately recognize the crest of House Morevo on top of it, like emblazoned into like the stonework. So you're definitely able to tell very easily that it most likely this drow that you were with is from House Morevo or is trying to seek asylum there.
Okay. Can I jump over?
Tell you what. Give me an athletics check. $20. Oh,
I'm on fire. Mike Raukini is on fire tonight.
It's an extremely high fence, so it's less that you're able to like leap over the fence or anything. It's more that you're able to find a point where there is a building on the outside of the fence that is kind of fairly close to the fence, and what you're able to do is kind of press your back up against the fence and press your legs up against this wall and kind of like shimmy yourself up to the point where when you get up on top of the building, you'd be able to leap over the fence. Now, you can see from where you are that if you were to jump over this fence, that... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to list 3 things, and you have to choose 2 of them. Okay, so you can do it safely. You can do it stealthily, or what's the last one? Okay, you can do it safely. You can do it so that no one would be able to hear you, or you can do it so that no one would be able to see you do it.
Okay. I try and do it with no one seeing me doing it, mainly because of the guards. There are guards at the front.
Yeah, there are guards at each of the gates, and there are guards like milling around in the general plaza as well that seem to have been kind of like part of the staff of the various different houses that are in there. So yeah, so you want to do it without being seen and choose one more, either not being heard or doing it safely.
Not being heard as well. I never played.
Okay. In which case, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please. 16. Okay. So you manage to land, and you manage to land. Basically, you aim yourself towards. There's like some bushes, which are down below, and it's going to kind of like muffle the sound of you landing. But in the process, you also kind of you realize when you land in them that they are actually kind of like thorny bushes. So you take 1 damage. Well, you take 1 piercing damage from some thorns in this bush. But you have managed to land without being seen or heard. You are currently in the back garden of one of these various mansions. I think you're probably like here-ish.
Okay.
So yeah. Upon landing, you when you're kind of looking around, you can see that there are definitely like people inside this manor that you've landed in, but they all seem to be kind of like very distracted. What do you do?
I sneak past them into the other side of the Shogunate Plaza where I saw the other two that I'd.
Okay, make a stealth check for me, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you are trying to kind of make this kind of stealthy approach, you feel a hand kind of clamp over your mouth and like basically like knock you off your feet and drag you back behind a bush. And when you turn around, Laura, describe your character for me, please.
Okay, so I'm for a woman. I'm thinking I'm pretty high, tall, high, and I have white hair, really, really light-colored eyes. They're almost glowing. I think I wear my armor, pretty nice armor, shiny armor, with leaves on all over it. It's like engraved. The armor's engraved leaves. Yeah, basically it, and pretty pale as well.
Okay. So yeah, Ralkini, in your attempt to stealthily move, you seem to have been grabbed by this person, and your immediate thought is probably something along the lines of like, oh no, I've been caught. But then you realize that as she's kind of like holding your mouth to kind of like keep you quiet, like 2 guards walk like directly in front of the path where you're about to be and then pass on. So yeah, this person probably just saved you from being caught and horribly murdered. What do you do? What do either of you do?
I've told him. I'm scared she's making noises. I'm slowly taking away my hand, but really slowly, getting ready. If he makes a noise, I grab him again.
And I swiftly turn around in an armed position, ready to strike the person who's just pulled.
Okay.
I'm holding up my hand to show him that I'm friendly. I don't harm him.
Okay. I noticed the hand holding up in the air and immediately drop my quarterstaff down out of a defensive position and say, "Who are you? What did you?"
I hold my finger for my mouth. Why? quiet, careful. I know you didn't do anything wrong. So that wasn't you with the explosion, but I just tried to help.
How did you get in here?
How to explain this? Do I know? Do you have a precise idea how I get in there, or should I just make up something?
You can make something up if you'd like. I didn't have a precise reason for or like how you'd got in there.
So the guards don't know that I'm here, so I probably didn't told them that I just want to go in there. I followed him. I saw what you did, and I just followed you, and yeah, I just saw you in trouble. Same way then that you came in.
Okay, well, thanks for pulling me back there. But I really need to get to the two that I was with when the explosion happened at the blade pit. Can you help me get?
I can try. So I think I should just sneak past. If they catch us, I will just act like a guard. Maybe they take it. Maybe.
I could create a distraction.
So do we see any guards there directly? So do we know where the guards are?
So currently looking around, you're in the middle of kind of like a series of kind of like hedges in this kind of back lawn. It looks kind of like so it's not like a hedge maze or anything, but it's like hedges have been kind of artistically arranged in various angles, and there's various different ones which have been like carved into different kind of animal shapes. There's like a giant swan one. There's like an elephant one, all of that kind of stuff. Very, very like rich and fancy. But all of this makes it very difficult to see. So could you make a perception check, please?
Is that both of us?
Yeah, probably. Would make sense because we're both looking out.
If you want to make a perception check, then we'll do it so that
like that. I'm really bad at that.
Okay.
So I took one for the team.
So in future, we'll say it was like this because I didn't explain it first. It would be one of you would be making a perception check, and the other one would be trying to offer advantage for the perception check.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. In this case, we'll say this time because I didn't explain it first. That it would be Ralkini making the perception check, and then Lux, you would have been trying to give him advantage. You didn't manage to give him advantage.
Of course not.
But yeah. So yeah, Ralkini, you kind of like do a kind of like peek up over the top of a hedge and do a quick recce, a quick scan, and you're able to see that there are like a couple. There are a couple of guards that seem to be following like a fairly like standard pattern. You can tell that they're currently facing away from you, but they're probably going to turn around within the next kind of 10 seconds or so, and then they're going to be coming back in your direction.
Okay. Yeah. So it's something I can do. I can cast a minor illusion, which
great.
Will distract them.
How long does this last? The minor illusion.
It's 1 minute.
1 minute. Oh, that's not. Is it a cantrip? Minor illusion cantrip?
Yeah.
It is. Okay. We could try to. You saw the guards, so you know which clothes they wear. You could try to put the clothes of the guards on me, and I will just handle it like I catch you and will drag you outside, but we won't go outside. We could just play it because it's easier than stealthing around, because I'm not good at stealthing around.
Yeah.
I'm a girl in a big armor. I'm shiny. I'm literally glowing.
I literally have nothing to
literally glowing is probably quite like you're gonna notice it.
do I have a direct line of sight to the entrance of
The entrance of what? Sorry.
the house I'm trying to get into with these two that went?
You don't have a direct line of sight to there, no.
Well, that's brilliant.
You know, like, the general direction of it, and the general direction of it is basically past where these guards are now.
Stealthing is not my thing, but I could talk to them. I'm a shiny person. They like me. I'm a good person. They will believe me that I'm a good person. At least I hope so.
Yeah, wait till you roll. Okay, no, let's do that then. I could do a scream or something that attracted the guards, but because of the gate and the people on the outside, I'm sure someone else would notice us darting across the floor.
Probably they will catch this. So we're not the stealthy ones. I'm not sure how stealthy you are, but I think I could talk to them. You know, I'm a good person. I'm just trying to do good here. I think they will believe me.
Let's go with that. My stealth is shocking.
Okay, so I think I will get out of hiding. I'm bad at hiding. I'm probably not even hiding. I'm just standing there behind the bush, shining around. So I walk up with head high to one of the guards. Yeah. I just do this. I will go with this.
Okay, what do you say?
Hello, sir. Or lady. I'm not sure if he's a sir or lady.
One of them is a sir, one of them is a lady. So you've managed to get both.
Okay. Hello, sir and lady. I lost a friend of mine. I tried to help him. He just walked in here. He looked like a musician. And I tried to help him. As you can see, I'm a paladin of the great god Dol era. And I'm just trying to do good here. Please help me to find the guy.
Make a persuasion check.
This is it. Wait for it.
Oops. The first one, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, did I click?
One.
I like the second one better.
Let me have a look. Yeah, no.
Oh.
That's what she would do.
Yeah, it's what you would do. So, like, they have this moment where the whole time you've been talking, they've kind of just been like looking back and forth, like at you and then at each other, just like, is this a thing that's happening? Also, is she glowing? What is? And then, like, when you say, like, I am a paladin of Dol Ara, they're just like, oh, you're a heretic, okay. And then they get their swords out.
Amazing.
They don't like other gods, but I have to tell them that I'm a paladin of Ara because that's my job.
Yeah.
You see, guys, you see, we don't have to fight. Fighting is something for bad. We are not bad people, right? We're good people. I just try to talk to you.
Yeah.
I try to.
They're not listening to you anymore. Like basically all they heard from that is blah 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 blah. I'm still at blah 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 blah.
All right. I grab my great sword. I just bring it out.
Just give me a second to set this up.
They want to fight me? All right. They can have it. It's not a good idea.
Okay, just give me a second. Right. So you're like kind of here-ish.
Yes.
They're both here. Let me just draw in some quick stuff here. Okay, so the kind of hedge that you guys were hiding behind is like here-ish. This kind of vague shape. There's kind of this kind of arched trellis thing that they were currently standing behind, and the kind of gate out into the main plaza is in that kind of trellis. There's another kind of hedgerow here, and there's a big long one that's along kind of here. So yeah,
All
that's the basic setup. What do you want to do?
I will just try to impress them. I don't want to hurt them. That's not my style. But if they attack me, I will attack back. But first of all, I will cast Shield of Fate on myself. Maybe impressing enough. Maybe that's enough to scare them. So yeah,
Okay,
I will do that.
Go for it.
Should I just click it on my character?
In your spells, just click it, and it should.
Here we go. And I get ready to dodge. That's all I do. I just use my bonus action to do that. So I have a big higher AC, and I get ready to dodge.
Okay.
If they attack me.
In which case, yeah, they both look like they're going to advance to attack. So let's roll some quick initiative.
They really want to fight me. I didn't want to hurt them. I was a nice person. I tried.
Mm-hmm.
I do have sleep, but I don't think I can actually get to you now.
Sleep is usually.
Is that creature?
I messed up the thing just a little bit. Let me just redo this a second. I forgot to make them actual objects and not part of the background. So, let's. Oh, the joys of roll 20. Okay, and then. That's better. I was wondering why your names weren't showing up.
Yes.
Okay. And you were like there. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to click on your character token and then the initiative on your sheet, and it will add it to the turn order.
Okay. Did I click it? Oh, yeah, I think I did. Initiative is also not so my thing.
Oh boy, you literally rolled 1 and then got 0.
That's shocking.
That's not my thing. I'm not pretty fast. Mm-mm.
It showed.
Okay. Ben, it doesn't look like you've done it yet.
Oh, I thought it did.
Yeah, if you click on your thing and then click the initiative on your sheet, it will, or should, add it to the turn order.
But it's not showing his name. Maybe it's, again, not a thing.
It's showing it on mine, so it is definitely
okay.
On mine.
Where's the initiative on the?
On your character sheet, it is literally just click the word initiative. It's next to your armor class.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Oh boy.
Nice.
That's good.
Let me just. Okay. So yeah, they draw their swords. Ralkini, it is your turn. You get to move before any of them get to do anything. What do you do?
God, you really put me in a pickle here. You know that.
That's my job.
Oh my god. Okay. Do you know what? If there's two of them, I come out from behind the bush and join.
Okay. The thing counts as difficult terrain, so it's going to be use up 10 across this. That's 15. That's as close as you can get.
Okay, 30. Do they notice?
Do they notice you?
Yeah.
I'm
Coming up.
gonna make a perception check for them. I'm gonna say that it's most likely, so they're gonna have a +2 to it because
Really?
literally just leap over a bush in the direction that they are looking.
They could be focused on the hair. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm making a roll in the first place. If it wasn't for the fact that it was literally glowing, I would have just said yes. They definitely see you. Okay, that's the character sheet's closed again. This is really annoying. Okay, let's make perception. So one of them doesn't, at least, and the second one. Nope, neither of them spot you. They're totally focused on this random glowing woman who's trying to be.
But this is that's a good thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. Let me just check something.
Okay.
I'm not close enough to do anything whatsoever.
That's fine.
If you'd like to, you can take the dash action this turn so that you could get closer.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. I need to do something.
Okay. If you click on your token, you should be able to move it. You can move up to another 30 feet, so that's up to another 6 squares.
Okay. It's all just.
You just click on it, and then you can use the arrow keys, and it will move.
Okay.
Okay. And if you have anything that you can do as a bonus action, you can do it now, but otherwise, that's the end of your turn.
No, this.
Okay. Yep, you dash up and you take your place next to your new friend.
Hello. How are you?
Pretty good.
My advice.
That will be fine.
Okay, so this guard gets to move first.
Come. It's okay.
And what he's going to do is he's going to step to here, and he is going to make a spear attack on you.
Okay. You can try at least.
That he can. And again, it's closed the character sheet when I'm in the middle of doing something.
Oh.
Oh, Lord, I love Roll20 sometimes. Okay. Yep, he's going to make a one-handed spear attack because he's not going to go for the full two-handed because he's still a little bit confused as to what this entire situation is. So he's just going to try to take a jab at you, as much to try and warn you to just go away as anything else.
No.
11, does that hit your AC?
Nope. Not even close.
Okay. So yeah, he just kind of like, he makes kind of like a half-assed jab at you, and it kind of just skitters off the side of your armor. Doesn't even seem to like put a dent or a scratch, and it just kind of like bounces off to the side.
I just blinking 2 times and start to smile at him, trying to be nice.
Yeah, he now has this look of like kind of concern, where he's like, "Okay, I don't know what to do now."
Just be nice. Just be nice.
Just be nice.
It's all good, boy. I don't want to kill you. It's all fine. You can still sit down.
Optimism. It's fantastic. Okay, so now we move on to the next guard. Having seen that happen, he's going to step forward to try and attack you. And at this point, he realizes, oh, there's another person here.
I see me. Sure.
So instead, he's going to try and take a stab at you. Okay. Does 12 hit your AC?
No, it doesn't.
Gonna do is he was trying to circle around to try and get like a flanking hit on Idris, and then he notices you're there, and kind of in a panic, he just kind of goes like ah, and like shoves the spear in your general direction, but it's nowhere near hitting you. It just kind of like goes off to the side of you, and he's just kind of like and now he's kind of like holding the spear in front of him, just kind of like hunkered down, pointing it at you. You get the sense that these guys aren't really very professional.
Oh, poor boys and girls.
Yeah. I think definitely the girl was the one that was like, I'm going to attack you head on, and then the spear didn't do anything. And definitely the boy is like the really cowardly one.
Oh, okay.
Like, look at him, and he looks like he's probably about 14.
Oh no.
It looks like, it looks like if a kid is wearing like adult clothes, it looks like that with like, armor, and he's just like,
Is it my turn? No.
Yes, it's your turn now with your initiative.
I grab his spear and try to take it away from him.
Okay.
I want to take away his weapon. He don't need that. We don't have to fight. It's all right. I'm really not here to harm you. I just try to take it away from him. I grab it.
Okay.
What do you want?
Oh, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What?
That's hard, I know.
I think. Give me a strength check, please.
Strength. Do I just click the word? Oh yeah. So, yeah.
Like, I surrender.
You don't have to fear me. I'm not here to hurt anybody. Believe me. I just want to talk to the musician, the friend of my friend. I'm not here to make trouble, Just bring me to that guy.
Okay. Give me a persuasion check.
One more time.
Oh. Oh, that's a good roll. So yeah, the basically kid is like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. Yeah, great. And like the woman who seems to be like his commanding officer is like, look, we've already had enough to worry about today. I don't know how you got into this garden. Frankly, I don't care why you're here. But if you leave right now, no harm will come to either of you. From me, at least. I can't see anything for any of those guards out there.
No, we won't go. You wanted to go to the guy, didn't you? I don't know who he is, but that was it. You wanted to go there, so we will go there. Can't be that hard.
I don't even know who this person is that you're talking about. You just showed up in this random garden, and you're talking about a musician. We don't have any musicians that live here.
Oh yes, you have. I asked them. I don't know his name. I asked the other guy. Do you know his name? Who are you searching for?
No, I don't yet. No, just a musical guy.
Yeah, he is definitely in here. Have a look around. I can wait here. You can bring him to me. I don't have to go in there, but really, you can just bring him to me. He will tell you the story.
He, the younger kid, like he basically like he puts his hand up, like he's like trying to get the attention of a teacher, just like ooh, and then like the commanding officer like slaps his hand down. And it's just like, Jenkins, get a hold of yourself, God. He's just like, what do you want? He's just like, they could be talking about Elland. And she's just like,
Oh, I just got again. Yeah. Alan. Yeah, I remember his name. Yes, that's it. Bring him to me. Just get him.
She's just like, okay. Here's the deal. I can get you inside this mansion. I can get you to this person that you want to talk to. But if our boss ever finds out that we let you guys just sneak in here and then let you guys into the manor just because you asked nicely, this is going to end badly for us. So here's what we're going to have to do. You guys are going to have to agree that we put these handcuffs on you, we take you inside, and we tell them that we caught you out here, but that you are here to see Elland, and then if he wants to beg for you and save you, fine.
Can I make an insight check? I try to know if she's lying or not.
Okay, make an insight check.
Again, I'm not pretty good. Yeah, what do I think?
As far as you know, you were really nice to this person, so they're being really nice back.
Okay, yeah, I believe her. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I let her do that.
Do you do anything, Ralkini?
I don't trust them, and I want to see if they're telling the truth.
Nobody would trust them. Except me.
So trust.
Okay. So generally, I don't allow more than one person to make an insight check on the same thing. So you wouldn't be able to do an insight check to see if they're lying. In future, if you want to make an insight check and like more than one of you do, then basically if you both go like, oh yeah, I want to do that, then we do it as the one person rolls. And
okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yep,
yeah,
fine.
So yeah, as far as you can tell, Ralkini, they are telling the truth.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I trust them. I'm happy to put the cuffs on and move forward. Anything to.
Okay. Let's go in there.
So as we come to the close of the end of this session, we see Ralkini and Idris, fast friends, now being arrested and taken into the house of House Marivo itself, where they hope Elland is awaiting to give them their reprieve. And that's where we'll pick up next session.
Excellent. I look forward to that.
So fun today.
Okay. Thanks, Cal. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Quite enjoyed the first day. I think everyone did. Anyone who's watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And hopefully tune in next week, same time for episode 3, if all goes to plan. Again, Horseman Gamers is trying to really get some new members, and we're trying to be very diverse in what we're doing with the gaming. So if you know anyone that wants to come and join our community or has an interest in gaming, please join the site, ask some questions. There is a lot going on, and we do have quite a few events coming up for everyone. So I do hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.